Hey guys, welcome back to Wentworth Life, the channel that talks all things Wentworth, and I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who sent me some really lovely, kind messages over the last 2 weeks. My back is a lot better, not quite fully recovered, I do get the odd twinge now and again, but I am a lot better. Okay, Wentworth Season 5 Episode 2, The Bitch is Back. And the title of this episode is aimed at Frankie Doyle, returning to Wentworth on the charge of murdering Mike Panisi. We all knew that Frankie was going to be returning behind bars in some shape or form. Now, Frankie is maintaining her innocence. We didn't actually see her kill Mike Panisi. We did have a nasty confrontation when he attacked her with a blowtorch. Ooh, that would have been painful. That guy was a complete psycho. But who did kill Mike Panisi? Well, after Frankie is inducted back into Wentworth and she says her hellos with all of the old gang, the cops come in to question her and to take some DNA. And then we are presented with the murder weapon. A gun, but not just any gun. It's the same gun that Shane had that Frankie took off him at the end of season 4, and Frankie then disposed the gun into a bin. So the plot thickens in this storyline. I can always remember thinking that maybe it was Jake Stewart. Maybe Joan had been getting Jake to follow Frankie, and then maybe he saw her dump the gun. But then I remembered, no, it couldn't have been Jake, because while Shane was pulling that gun on Frankie, he was off killing Nils Jasper for Joan. So the mystery becomes even deeper. I do love the moment where Frankie, also thinks that it was Joan who got someone to kill Mike and frame her. And Frankie then goes to the dining room and she has it out with Joan. And then she ends up pulling a fork against Joan's neck. And oh my god, Boomer, she ends up jumping up and starts clapping and shouting, "Go on, Frankie, bash her!" Like, Boomer gets so excited at this moment, and it's absolutely brilliant. Luckily for Joan, Frankie isn't that person anymore, and we witness Frankie going through all of the emotions in this episode, making it clear to both Kaz and the rest of the women that she isn't interested in being the top dog. She just wants to clear her name and get out of the prison again. But all of those temptations are there, and Frankie knows only too well how easily the prison machine and the prison politics can suck her back in and bring her down. There's a moment where Boomer puts up some photos of some sexy chicks in Frankie's cell, and Boomer is like, Frankie, this is a surprise for you. You can just lay back on your bed now and flick yourself off when you're in the mood. You've gotta love Boomer. She's just brilliant. She's the friend that we all need, I feel. And she really does mean well. But Frankie, she's not really having any of it. She doesn't want anything reminding her of her original days in Wentworth. And she has a bit of a falling out with Booms, but there is this really lush moment later on where Frankie goes to Boomer's cell and she apologizes. Frankie then jumps on top of Boomer and starts hugging her. They're like swaying in the bed, and it's really interesting because the part where Frankie is on top of Boomer and saying, "Just dance with me," it wasn't originally in the script. That was ad-libbed and just added on by Nicole, who plays Frankie, and it turned out to be such a beautiful scene. It was kept in for the show, and it always makes me smile, that scene. Going back to the gun, things get even worse for Frankie when the forensics find her DNA on this gun, meaning that Frankie is in some serious deep shit, because Frankie lied about never seeing the gun in her previous interview, and it goes against her really, really badly. And of course, with Frankie working in law herself, she knows how bad this situation is looking for her. The moment where Frankie ends up trashing her cell and she screams out, I find it so powerful. Her scream always hits me whenever I rewatch this scene. It is like a proper wow moment. I do love the part later on though when Ali comes in and tells this hilarious story of when she was once off her face and starts smashing up her cell, and then she was getting ready to throw a snow globe at the wall until she realised she doesn't actually own a snow globe. It literally makes me laugh out loud every single time. I really like Ali and Frankie's friendship in season 5. I'm really glad that the writers didn't go down the romantic route with these two. I know there is a tiny little slip later on in the season, but I'm glad that they just became and remained friends. It is definitely what B would have wanted. Speaking of Ali, she wants to kill Ferguson for B and tells Frankie that this is what her plan is, but Frankie warns Ali that, Joan Ferguson is very dangerous and she needs to be very, very careful. Now, Kaz, she ends up giving Ali a lecture about attacking Joan in the yard in the previous episode, and I was like, come on now, Kaz. Joan murdered Ali's true love. Of course Ali was always going to attack Joan. Any normal person would, whether if it was in prison or outside of prison. Oh, Kaz is really grinding on me, and she's going to continue grinding on me for a few more episodes, but it's fine, we will persevere through. Joan decided to declare war on Vera by the end of this episode. Now, Vera ends up telling Joan that Officer Murphy, basically, she lost her swipe card and then B. Smith stole it, and that is how B got out into no man's land, meaning that this now puts an end to Joan claiming that Vera had helped B to conspire to get to her. Obviously, it's not true, that is exactly what happened, but this is really bad news for Joan. And just to add a little bit more fuel to the fire, Vera also brings back Joan's teal uniform. And when Joan puts her uniform back on, Joan is looking in the mirror, and the mirror Joan is basically, we're seeing her in her governor's outfit, and Joan literally says that she is going to dismantle Vera piece by piece, professionally, psychologically, and emotionally. Oh god, I can remember when I first saw this moment, I was like, wow, Vera, you're in trouble, my love. This is a woman who is literally going to mentally torture and destroy you. I was genuinely concerned for Vera at this stage in the show. I mean, let's not forget that Jake is still seeing Vera, but there's also a moment where Jake goes to Joan and he tells her that, he's gonna pay her back the money that he owes her, so she has nothing over him. But she makes it very clear to him that it is not going to be that easy. Joan now has her hold over Jake, and he knows it. Now, Jake, being the person that he is, he ends up ordering a load of new drugs to sell in the prison, because why not? Jake is definitely one of those characters who just can't help but press the self-destruct button every single time. It's all going to end in tears. This is Maxine's last episode because Maxine is transferred to the prison farm very, very quickly and very randomly. I always find it just a little bit odd how Maxine just says her goodbyes one moment and is then taken away. She's never heard from again. Now, I don't know if something happened behind the scenes, of the filming, or maybe there was just a new writer that came in for season 5 that just didn't like Maxine's character. I don't know, but it is a huge loss for the show, losing Maxine so soon after B. I think we all wanted Maxine to return at some point, whether if that was her being transferred back to Wentworth as a prisoner, or maybe her, visiting Boomer, maybe she got released eventually. It would be nice to get some sort of update. We didn't even get a letter update. I do feel that Maxine's character deserved better. What do you guys think? Let me know. Sonia Stevens' trial is coming around very fast, and Liz has to memorize everything that she's going to say in court as witness X, because you know, Liz is actually lying in this statement for Don Kaplan. Now, Sonia finds out from her solicitor that there is a secret witness, and she is not happy at all. And it does get Liz a little bit rattled. And later on, Liz ends up admitting to Doreen everything in secret. Now, I can remember thinking to myself that this is not going to end well for Liz. She's getting into something super dangerous. We didn't even know at this stage if Don was a good guy or a bad guy. I mean, spoiler alert, he's a bad guy, but I was feeling so nervous for Liz, as I'm sure we all were at this stage. I honestly have no idea where they were going with this. And finally, I just want to mention a scene that I do like, and it's a scene where Will is having a psych session with Bridget, and we genuinely see the impact of what B. Smith's death has had on him. I genuinely feel that Will had feelings for B, but never ever acted on it because of what she went through with her husband Harry, and instead he promised to look after her the best way that he could. And do you know what, guys, you can genuinely see the emotion in Will's face during this scene, and it just makes me love Will Jackson a little bit more. So, a lot of intense things happening and bubbling away, and a heavy Frankie Doyle episode, which is always a good thing. Now, my favourite moment has to be Frankie and Boomer hugging on the bed. It is an absolutely beautiful moment. And my least favourite moment has to be Kaz trying to tell Ali off for doing what she did to Joan. Kaz, you just need to have a little word with yourself, my lovely darling. But now it's time for you guys to shine. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments box below, and let me know if you are enjoying these episode reviews. Now, on that note, I am going to wrap this video up. Thank you all for watching today. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Stay safe out there, and I will see you all again very soon.